Okay, good evening. Welcome. This is the Select Board meeting for Thursday, February 10th. First item on the agenda is a salute, oh my word, how embarrassing, to the American flag, which is in a voting booth, which might be appropriate. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will try to make sure that the flags are where they belong by next meeting. Okay.
All right, I make a motion we approve the agenda as written.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of the last meeting
I
as
second.
written.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. We have no old business. Under news business, we have Mr. Daniels. Are you a Stefan or a Stephen? Stephen. We have Mr. Stephen Daniels from Central Maine Power here to discuss a proposal by CMP to replace our meters with smart meters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to give that one?
Yeah, I'll give that one. We've got one extra, so if you guys want to share. Am I getting old? No, I twisted my ankle on the ice.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Daniels. I work for Central Maine Power. I've been there about 25 years with them, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about our smart meter installation. It's really a new use of an old technology. The technology is radio, which we're all familiar with, and this is just a new way of using it, but it's nothing new in and of itself. A few years ago, we started looking at what's the next thing we do to update our system to move it along, to move it into the next century. The meters that we have out there now are basically the same as they were 50, 75 years ago. There's no real difference in the meters. They're a mechanical meter, they have gears in them, and like many of us, as they get older, they slow down. But what we're doing now is moving to a next level of technology using a digital meter, an electronic meter that is far more accurate and lasts a lot longer. The meters that we proposed to put in, we looked at these a couple of years ago, and at that point it was too expensive. The payback on the installation of the meters wasn't a reasonable amount. So we had talked to the Public Utilities Commission about that, and they agreed that it was, too long range. Then under the this Reinvestment Act, the stimulus money was available for upgrading utility systems to a smart grid technology. And one of the first steps of that is a smart meter. Now we have other, what they call smart, and what they mean by smart is it has the ability to send you information and you have the ability to contact it. That's all it is. It has no artificial intelligence, if you will. So we started looking at what we could do, and we applied for a grant, and we were lucky enough to receive a Department of Energy grant for $96 million, which is approximately half the cost of the meters. So we took that back to the Public Utilities Commission. They agreed that now it made economic sense to go forward with the installation, and they gave us permission to do so. We've been testing the meters for the last 6 months or so up in the Augusta area near our general office, where we put in a beta test, if you will, which is installing some of the meters and some of the collector points and pulling information back and then verifying it both visually, going out and manually reading the meter versus having the electronic information sent by radio frequency. The first thing in your packet that I gave you is a picture of how the system works. The meters actually, they're in a mesh network in that the meters communicate with each other, in that My meter will send data to your meter, which then relays it on. It doesn't store it in your meter, but it relays it to the next meter, to the next one, the next one, and it goes out like a spider web to all the meters in the area to a collection point. And that collection point, if you look on is the wide area network. Those are units that are up on the poles, and they collect and store the information, and we, once a night, after midnight, pull that information, send it an electronic signal, and it then sends us the information upon request. And that would be my meter usage, your meter usage, everyone who's in that section of the mesh that is connected to that wide area network. That all gets relayed along up to our office in Augusta. If you look on the second page, you'll see what the units look like. They're just basically little domes up on the poles, and those are the collectors. They store it and send it forward. The last page of that, you see what the meter looks like. From a distance, it's no different. It's the same size, the glass looks the same. The only difference is if you have a meter with a spinning disc in it now, you wouldn't have one of those going forward. We do have some electronic meters already in place that don't have discs in them, so this is very similar to those. It has a digital printout or a digital read on the window on the front, and you can see if it's active or not. What we do for...
When you said the old ones slow down, is that to our benefit? Do we get less?
Unfortunately for us, yes, it is. We typically, every 10 or so years, change out everybody's meters anyways, and we bring them back in the shop and refurbish them, and then put them back out into service somewhere else. You get dust and grime in the gears inside, and they just slow down over time. And we're required to keep them accurate to plus or minus 2%. So that's the rotation cycle that we found works best for those meters. We have a lot of experience with them. We've been using them a long time, so we know about when they need to be taken out of service and cleaned. In all my years with the company, I've never seen one that sped up over time. I've only seen them that slow down over time, but I suppose it is possible. The actual installation process, we hired a company called VSI to do the installation of the meters. They are a Pennsylvania-based company, which is where their management is, but they hire all local folks to do the work. Portland Water District used them to change out their water meters. Uses a slightly different technology. Their meters, you drive by it and you ping the meter with a device as you drive by it, and it sends you the signal. Bangor Hydro used VSI to change out all of their meters. They use a different technology, an older technology, which is power line carrier. So they bring the information back over the power line itself. We went with a more advanced system, which is the radio frequency system.
Will the new meters just fit right into the same hub?
Yes.
Okay, so all they're going to do is unplug the old one, plug the new one in?
That's correct. The actual installation process, perfect lead in. The installation process is the VSI installer will go to the door, we'll pick a residence, go to the door of the residence, knock on the door. If no one's home, they'll go and install the meter, they take a picture of the old one so that we have proof of the final reading. They install the new one, take a picture of that to show the reading at the start, and then they're gone. The actual time for disconnection of the power into the house is about 1 minute. The total process takes about 10 minutes at most. Because they do voltage testing, they make sure everything is tight and solid in the meter, in the enclosure. Now, we did identify in advance some meter enclosures that are older style that would not accept these meters. And we hired local electricians to go out and change out those meter enclosures at our expense. If when the installer goes to change a meter, they find there's a problem with it or it breaks when they try to install the new meter, we have electricians on standby. We'll go and fix it at our expense. There's no cost to the consumer for this. If, when they're done with the installation, they'll leave one of these door hangers. You have one in the front of your packet on the door just to show that they were there. It says, "Hi, we were here, we changed out your meter, that's why your microwave's blinking," so you know what happened. If they run into a problem and they can't change the meter after they start, they'll leave one of these orange door hangers that says what the problem is, what they're going to do, and if they need an appointment, they'll ask you to call in and set an appointment for them to come back. We also identified some hard-to-access meters. Some of them are behind a fence, in the garage. They have a big dog that doesn't like meter readers. Whatever the access point, problem is, we identified those in advance, and we sent a postcard to those customers asking them to call and set up an appointment. For commercial customers, if it's a fairly new installation, we'll say within the last 20 years or so, there's actually a bypass handle inside the meter enclosure. So once the door comes off, they can throw the handle, it reroutes the energy around the meter, they can take the old meter out, put the new one in, and there's no interruption of power. They close the handle back, close it back up, seal it, and they're done. The older enclosures, there would be an outage, so we're sending all of the commercial customers a postcard asking them to set an appointment for us to come by and do it. The installer knocks on the door, somebody answers the door. The installer identifies themselves, who they are, why they're there. They have ID cards for both VSI and for CMP. Their trucks have CMP logos and their own company logos on the sides. They'll identify themselves and ask if it's okay to change the meter. The resident can say, sure, go ahead, and they'll go and do it. Or they could say, can you give me 10 minutes to shut off the TV or the computer or whatever? They'll say, sure, go ahead. They'll say, can you come back this afternoon? Yes, we will. Can you come back tomorrow? They'll give them a card and say, please call us and set an appointment for when you'd like us to come back, because that installer can't guarantee that they would be back in that area again the next day. So that's the process. There is one more thing the resident can say, and that is, I don't want one. Right now, temporarily, we're allowing an opt-out, which is they'll bypass that enclosure. They won't put a meter in, a smart meter in. The whole issue is in front of the Public Utilities Commission for a decision on whether customers should be allowed to opt out of having a smart meter. If they do opt out, then if the commission says that it's okay to opt out, then they also have to decide what is it going to be and who's going to pay for it. If you want a smart meter and you don't, you shouldn't have to pay extra for this person not to have one. So that whole thing is being looked at by the Public Utilities Commission. We're waiting for their decision. Whatever they tell us to do is what we do. They control us.
So you're saying there could be an additional fee if you don't take the new meter?
We don't know what it's going to be. That's one of the proposals. So there have been other proposals, and customers have always had the opportunity to locate the meter away from the residence. I mean, you can have it out on your own, like a mobile home hookup, where it's actually away from, on a pole or a pedestal, away from the building. So that's already an option that people can do if they want to. Yes?
So what, the linking from house to house?
Yes.
So if, let's say that we all three live next door to each other and we all say, no, we'll have a smart meter. How does that link up system work? So the amount of energy that's coming into Ted's house, does it pick up and then increase going through mine? And the RFs, do they increase as they go down the line?
They don't. The meter broadcasts a total of less than 45 seconds a day. There's a buffer system in the meter. It collects the information, and then about every 6 hours or so, depending on the meter manufacturer, it forwards the information out. It sends that out. Doesn't do it constantly. It sends it out. Now, radio frequency, there can't be two broadcasting at the same time. Just like you can't have two radio channels coming over your radio at the same time. It just garbles. They wait until it's their turn, and then they send it on. Now, your meter would send it to yours. Yours doesn't store it. It just picks it up and relays it on. And then the next one picks it up and relays it on.
So, but if there are 100 people before me that are all going for 45 seconds a day, and I'm at the end of the line, does that mean that I have going through mine or through my property all 100 of those 45 seconds?
No. What it means is all of them together, worst case scenario, if you will, the maximum amount of meters available, and if every one of them happened to go through yours, it would be no more than 45 seconds a day.
Okay, so it's not that each meter is going for 45
No,
seconds
that's
a day?
the
Is the maximum
max.
that any one house at the end of the line could have happen is the 45 seconds a day?
And because it's a mesh network,
It's not a long line.
it's not. It's going all over like a spider web, so that any of the meters that are within broadcast distance of the collector, they're all sending the signals to that collector. So it's that way, if something happens, you get a car pole accident, something gets broken or whatever, the information doesn't get lost. It's being sent via another route. Now, each collector can collect the signal from up to about 2,000 meters, but we're designing the system with about 860, I think it is, 861 meters as a maximum average design for redundancy. So if something does go down, you still don't have so many meters that you can't get the signal out. Does that
How
help?
about in the rural area? You're still going to be able to have that many houses, where we're so spread out, you'll still be able to have that many houses on one receiver?
You could, it's unlikely. The maximum distance that the meters can broadcast is about 6 miles.
Oh, okay.
But that's, straight line, best condition.
Right.
Okay? So what we did in advance is, before we start the meter installation, we go out and put up the collectors. And before we did that, we had a company go out and site where everything needed to go in order to be able to receive all the signals. So that was all done over the last year to 2 years.
And that's already been done here in town?
I don't know if the collectors are up here in town. You've got a total of 2,335 meters that, in town that will be changed out. And then the collectors may already be up. The last time I saw the schedule, it was starting any time now and going up through July that these would be done.
So by July, Acton would be all done?
Right.
If someone, so we have announced that you were coming and why, and we're being filmed so that people can watch it at home. If someone does decide, for whatever reason they may have, that they do not wish to have a smart meter in their house,
But we don't put them in the house.
in their meter. Okay.
Okay.
They decide they did not wish to have one on their property.
All right.
How's that? Do they need to call ahead and let you know that? Because if they come home from work and they find a hangy tab on their door saying, we've done this today,
Right.
if they don't want to have one, they need to do something.
Yes.
So it's not that you're going to call and ask their permission. If they don't want to have one, they need to call you and say, please don't do this.
That's correct. Call our 1-800 number
Okay,
for customer service and let them know.
okay.
Would you mind answering some questions to the folks? That are
Oh, no.
here? Okay, we'll have to they'll ask up here, and then you'll have to answer up here, because that's the only way the camera can pick up the voices. So
Okay.
if anybody has questions for CMP, if you want to come up and, no?
And we can keep we can keep our packets with our secretary in her office so that people that have questions can certainly come and read the materials at their leisure. We can put one in the library as well. And I'm sure that there's a website that people could go on to for
CMP's
CMP.
website.
Okay. and there's-
www.cmpco.com.
Okay, so people that have questions can certainly, if they have internet access, they could use the libraries. If they don't, they could do some research online about that.
Absolutely. All of this information that I've given you is on our website under the Smart Meter program. So all you got to do is click on it. It's right there.
Great.
Why are we doing this? What's the advantage? Well, for one thing, it will reduce costs. It will reduce our costs to provide those meter reading services, and it will therefore reduce the cost to provide service to the customer.
So we'll see a deduction in our bills?
The metering portion of the bill will be less,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Will some other
That's
part
only,
be
that's only
higher?
a small portion of the overall bill,
Right.
but the metering portion will be less as a result. That was obviously a requirement for the PUC, otherwise they wouldn't have allowed this.
How many people are currently employed as meter readers?
There'll be approximately 148 positions that will be eliminated when the entire system is in place. Now, meter reading positions. Meter reading position is an entry-level job at CMP. We worked out a transition with their union, And we have offered a buyout package, if that's what they choose. We also offered early retirement to the entire union so that it would create openings and positions for these people to post into based on the union rules. They can post into those positions and move up in their job and responsibility. There are also, because of, there's a lot of back office support that's required for this, a lot of IT type support, which opens up additional openings in the company at other locations.
It just would seem unfortunate to have economic recovery stimulus money being used to eliminate positions.
Absolutely.
That seems a bit unproductive.
Next thing, we read 620,000 meters every month. That's, 12 months a year. We put about 2 million miles, road miles on to drive to and read all those meters. So we will eliminate 2 million miles of operation. That equates to over 1,500 tons of CO2 annually that would be reduced. So there's a green component to this by being able to reduce those miles. One of the best things about this is right now we rely on customers to tell us when there's an outage. We know when there's a whole circuit that goes down, but we don't know that your house is out unless you call us. These meters have what's called a last gasp technology, which means when the power goes out, they shoot us a signal and says, hey, I'm out of power. So we will know as soon as a customer is out. So we can respond. We'll know where the last meter is on a road that has power and the first one is that's out of power, if there's more than one. Or if it's just one, we'll know that that one is out. So when that happens, we can dispatch our crews more effectively and get to an outage more quickly. That's a huge benefit, especially in a storm situation where we'll say the power goes out on the main road, there's a tree down across the three-phase on the main road, but we don't know that, we'll know about that, but we won't know that there's a tree that came down on your service at your house and you're out of power. And you might not call in saying, well, the whole town's out of power. Of course they know. Well, we'd repair the major portion out on the road, but then we wouldn't know about yours. So again, that would be a return trip. And you would then look around and say, hey, how come everybody else has got their power back but me? And you'd call in again and start the whole process. That's eliminated this way. We know when we restore power, we know that all those meters should be energized again, and if any of them are not, we'll know it. So we can, again, respond more quickly.
I have a standby generator. Will it affect that in any way?
No. As long as it's wired to code?
Yeah.
I'll make that caveat. As long as it's wired to code, there'll be no problem. Other advantages of the system is for the homeowner or the business. With smart technology comes the ability for us to have the information available for you online at our website. So you could go on the web, go into our website with your account number and a password that you set up, and you can look at your own usage by month, by day, by hour. You can look at it and compare what's the carbon footprint of that usage. That information will be available. So what we found is that with other utilities, and like Pacific Gas and Electric has got about 8 million of these meters in so far. It's not a new technology, it's just new to us. But what they found is when people start monitoring their usage, then it opens up their ability to take advantage of time of use pricing if they want to do that. Now, right now we offer a time of use rate for delivery, but there isn't a supplier who offers time of use rates for supply, for the energy itself. They will. They're already coming forward and saying we want to do this. If you choose to and decide to be a time of use customer, you can move load from a higher cost period to a lower cost period. And what they found in other areas is a typical customer will reduce their usage by about 5 to 15%. So there is a green savings, if you will, from reduction. It also means we need fewer transmission lines, fewer generators, all those things come into play. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So the other thing that this leads to is smart house technology. If a customer wants to invest in that, they can use the meter portal to be able to access information in your home. You can turn on lights, you can set the heat, you can do all kinds of things yourself while you're away over your own computer into your own home. So that's a future will be developed as time goes on with these meters. But there's a lot of technology that will be available through these. There's also a security piece of this, which is something that people are often concerned with, in that we had to submit a cybersecurity plan to the Department of Energy in order to get the grant. They had to approve the plan. We have that same type of security at our substations, and it's very robust. We take people's privacy of their information and their security very seriously. So this is a secure system. The data that's sent from the meter is encrypted. Even if you could receive it, you wouldn't know what it was. So, there have been concerns about health. The PUC investigated those concerns and went with and decided to go along the lines with the Federal Communication Commission, who has investigated and approved these meters for their use. We operate these meters at a very, very low level of radio frequency. There's a chart in your handout that shows the typical use of a meter versus other appliances you may have in your home, even background noise. Our own bodies create radio frequency just from our being alive. And it's really interesting when people look at this and they see that, just a baby monitor in a house uses 67 times more energy to broadcast that information within the house than a meter uses. Or that your microwave is 300 times more powerful, right up through cell phones. So, this is something that people have found very handy and good information. And again, it's on our website.
Regarding that, we have heard some concerns from people about pacemakers. Is there information from CMP we are an older community here in Acton. If somebody has a pacemaker or concerns about that, is there somebody that they can address that with and speak to about that?
It's in the website. It's on the website. There's a frequently asked questions and answers, as well as the information from the Maine CDC, Center for Disease Control, where they've investigated that. If the pacemaker is operating correctly, there should be no interference. And again, the information is there for them to look up.
Great.
In your packet is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're also creating a lot of jobs right now, too, right? You're redoing all your power lines?
Yes, actually, at the very end of the packet, I threw in an extra piece about the project we're doing called the Maine Power Reliability Program. And that is upgrading the transmission system that we have in the state. Our transmission system was built as a result of the New York blackout in the 60s. And
where the baby boomers came from.
Yeah, exactly. And as a result of that, in the early 70s, they built all the Maine Yankee, Connecticut Yankee nuclear plants. They built the transmission grid that we have now, and it's set basically in that same configuration for 40 years. Now we're increasing it, actually making it in place so it will hold us and serve us well for the next 20 so years.
Any chance, just to sweeten the deal, that the smart meters are actually made in Maine or
They're
in
made
the U.S.
just
at least?
across the border in New Hampshire.
I thought
Amazing.
you were going to say Canada.
I was sorry.
The other border.
Mexico or,
We use two brands. One is made across the border in New Hampshire, and the other one is made in the United States. I don't know the location, but I could tell you if you're really interested. All the parts come from everywhere, but they're all part of the North American Free Trade Alliance through NAFTA. They all come through that. That's part of the grant requirement as well.
that's good to hear as well, So
anyways, at the last page, there's information on that program on the main power reliability. We're spending about $1.4 billion upgrading that system. And these meters, by the way, are more expensive than the old ones, so our tax revenue to the town will go up.
Nice.
Small thing, but hey, we'll take it.
That's the, also in your packet is the frequently asked questions and answers, but it's right off our website for anybody who wants to see it there. There's information from the CDC on their investigation of the meters. There's information from the Federal Communications Commission on their investigation of the meters. It's all there. Questions from the board or from folks here?
We've got Bill.
Just out of curiosity, the older meters, certain unscrupulous customers used to take the meter out and turn it upside down and plug it back in and plug backwards. I just was curious whether that is possible with these meters.
There have been many ingenious ways that I've seen for people to try to divert energy. But to answer your question, no, it wouldn't matter to the meter. These meters register in both directions, in and out. So if someone has a solar generator or they have a wind generator or whatever and they want to sell into the grid, the meter is capable of registering out as well as in for net metering purposes. As far as they're much more tamper resistant, because if somebody disconnects it, we'll know. The meter will let us know when it's been taken out of service, and we'll investigate why it's out of power. There have been some really ingenious ways of doing it in the past, and hopefully this will help prevent tampering. Questions? Now's your chance.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to get a hold of me, and we'll take care of it.
And Lorraine will make sure that one of these gets to the library, one of them gets to your office. Okay, great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, we have some resignations to announce and some pleas to make for replacements.
I make a motion, we accept the resignation of Scott Dunham and Brian Cochran from the Cable Committee,
I second that.
with regret.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. And that leads us to the second part of that.
We have 2 openings, and we have been advertising that we're looking for 2 people to come on to the Cable Committee, and no names have come forward, so we're not going to have an ending date on it. So if anybody's interested in getting involved with the Cable Committee, we sure could use some help. The other thing is we're going to be looking for folks to that want to come in and learn how to film. We're filming a lot more meetings, and we need more people to do it, and we don't want to do what we did with Brian and make him work so much that he didn't have time to do anything else, because Brian was here so much when he was filming for everything, and we really appreciate all the filming he did. So we really could use some volunteers for filming, or 2 people that will be willing to be on the Cable Committee, and I believe you meet once a week or once every other week?
Well, right now, it's trying to be once a week.
Okay. So right now it's once a week up until they get this up running a little bit better, and then after that, I'm sure the meetings will be less after it's up and running.
Right. Okay, going on to number 5, we have any other business for the evening? Any other business? Okay, like to announce, so the gym that is located here on the townhouse property, we had tried this year to run it with the hopes that people that were volunteers in town, because we have over 100 of them when you add up all the coaches and everything, as well as the employees and the staff at the school, that we would have enough membership to run the gym not at taxpayer expense. That is not proving to be the case. So we are going to try another approach, and we are going to open it up to membership to the town at large. And we are going to start that as of March 1st. Townspeople will be able to sign up for a gym membership. To get an idea of whether they would want to do so or not, we are having some open house days The general public can come in on February 17th and the 24th. Those are both Thursdays from 4 till 7 p.m. And there will be a person in the gym to kind of give you a tour and let you try things out and see if it's kind of up your alley. Also on Saturday, February 26th and Saturday, March 5th from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. the same thing will be happening. There will be a person on site. People can come in, take a tour of the facility, see if it is to their liking. If they decide that they do wish to join the gym, a year membership for a person in the town of Acton is $120, so it's $10 a month. If you are a volunteer or an employee for the town, it is $60 a year instead, so $5 a month. And it is, of course, going to continue to remain free of charge for all firefighter and rescue volunteers, since that was what it was originally set up for, and it was meant to thank them for the service they provide to our community. So if you have any questions, you can contact our board, you can contact Gail Boisvert. She's really been great at helping to spearhead this. She's made some lovely flyers that she'll be posting around town. The information is also up on our website, and it's also going to be up on the cable channel if it is not already.
Didn't they set a price for senior citizens, too?
No, we did not.
They didn't?
No.
Okay.
So I think that the $10 per month is a very reasonable cost. There is a membership form that if you are interested, you will fill out. We are going to be, we want to get everyone on the same schedule as far as signups and so forth, just for ease of sign up. So if you do decide to sign up, it will be prorated March through the end of June, and then everyone will be expected to sign up again July 1 through June 30th. So that we can get everyone on the same schedule, and that will make our paperwork easier. The idea is that if we can get, 100 or so members, that we will be able to have that be completely self-sustaining. We don't want it to continue to use tax dollars to run. So we're hoping that by opening it up to a larger pool of people, we'll have enough interest to have that happen. Any other comment, gentlemen? No? Okay. Questions? Yes, Marion?
Do they have to sign up for a year, or can they go on?
Well, we thought that by doing, especially by having the re-sign up be July 1, this would give people a 4-month trial period, if you will. So you would sign up for the $40 if you are not on a board, or $20 if you are, and you could see for 4 months, do you use it? Do you go? Is it something that you feel enhances your life? And that would be a nice trial window for you. I don't think we've discussed whether you can pay month by month. I think actually the answer would probably be no, that because we want the paperwork to be set up and just be a once-a-year thing, I think the idea is that sign-up is July 1 and payment for the year is due July 1 as well. I'm sure we can work out something that if you are suddenly made unable to use the gym, that you could perhaps be prorated back the money. So if in December you take a tumble and break some bones and you can't can't continue to go, that we can, I'm sure, work out something to be prorated that $60 back to the person for not having the use of it.
Well, the other thing is anybody that signs up will be giving a key to the door and a code to the alarm, and we don't want to be doing that every month. So if we can do it once a year, it's going to make a lot less work for us with the alarm company and having keys made.
That's a great point. Thank you. Any other questions about that? I saw Holly, did you?
Yeah, that was my question. I wondered if you were still going to do that. I remember when I was using it, it was 24/7.
Yeah.
You had a key.
Yeah, you'll have your own key and your own alarm code.
But the
and,
hours are not 24 hours a day,
Oh, they're
7
not?
days a week. No, the hours, currently the hours are from, I believe, 5 a.m. till 11 p.m. And I think that it was decided that that was a better choice for the town. We don't really want people in there at 1, 2 a.m. on their own. Nobody's driving by to see if anything's happening. So 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., we figure that covers most people will have some time during that period to be able to come in and exercise. So, but the codes, they do allow us to kind of monitor if something goes horribly awry. We know who's in there, or at least whose code was used to get in there. So that's important. We've announced about the cable committee volunteers. Do you guys, gentlemen, have any other announcements you wish to make?
Nothing.
Bill?
No?
Okay, Lorraine? No? Okay.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Sorry, Barbara.